right, it is Wednesday, and you know what that means. My friend Karen Coltrane, President and CEO of the Children's Museum of the Lowcountry, is in studio with me to talk all about family-friendly events and family-friendly, advice. Also, that's a big thing that you give on this segment. We love having you here.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, what I wanted to talk about today was a summer camp that's new to the market. As you know, ours sold out in February, and we're running them now downtown and at our new location in St. George. But I wanted to tell you about another camp for the big brothers and sisters of the children that we normally serve. Our partners at Charleston Digital, a fellow nonprofit whose mission is to support the tech community in the Charleston area and help grow it, and they're doing a great job at that. They're entering the summer camp market this summer, offering a hands-on robotics camp for 7th and 8th graders. And it makes sense that since their mission is to foster technology, that they would reach back and get a little involved in workforce development, right? Getting kids excited about technology, and building robots is actually exciting for everybody, but it gets them excited about computer education, and it's going to touch all of their lives. I mean, there's no matter what you do, as you know, you're going to have some connection and need these skills. So plus it's just fun. So they're offering 2 summer camps I wanted to tell everybody about, July 8th through the 12th and July 15th through the 19th, 4 days a week from 9 to 1 at the Charleston Learning Center in St. 4 Conroy Street downtown. Each camp is $149, but they also have scholarships, and if you can reach out to them about a scholarship, if you would benefit from that, they're happy to talk about that. So I encourage you to check it out at charlestonlc.org.
This is a great option for families who weren't able to get in, months ago when they had this registration for summer camps.
Yep, this has come up. They've decided to do it, and I think the first camp may be close to sold out. So you might have to look at the second week of it, but I think that's a great opportunity for those kids in those middle grade years that we struggle with kind of what to do with them. I remember when my son was that age, it's like, what am I going to do with him this summer? So that's hopefully helpful to some folks out there.
Definitely, definitely. How have all the camps been going at the Children's Museum?
Full and busy. They're good they're good kids. We're very happy. This summer has been, different years coming out of COVID. We were seeing some behaviors that were not quite as much this year. So I think kids are kind of settling into the post-COVID world and getting more interaction. We're starting to see that. So I think that's really good. And we upskilled our staff a lot over the off season on how to deal with behaviors that they hadn't seen for a while or hadn't seen at all. So
awesome.
But since I was on technology, I thought I'd go ahead and check and see what are the experts saying about introducing our littlest ones to technology. We get asked that question a lot. We get in the museum, yay, you don't have a lot of technology, it's hands-on, and then we get people, parents who say the opposite and say, why don't I have Wi-Fi in here so I can, do that? So at any rate, we see the gamut, and I thought, well, let's check with the experts and let's communicate that to the Lowcountry so we hear what's going on. So I looked at 4. I looked at the American Academy of Pediatrics. I always go to them. World Health Organization. The organization we work with all the time, the National Association for the Education of Young Children, and then Common Sense Media. So just kind of reading through what all of them said, and they all stress the importance of sort of a thoughtful and balanced integration of technology into young children's lives to sort of support development and learning, and they have all of them kind of had consensus around 4 recommendations, 4 areas. So the first one is timing, and that's what the question I hear from people is, when do you start to do this? And there seems to be a lot of consensus around 18 months is the right age, but it has to be high quality content. It has to be just a little bit, and it has to be supported with parental, grandparental, caregiver interaction with the child. There is one exception that the American Academy of Pediatrics pulls out, which is video chatting. And
So you can see your family.
You can see your family.
Okay, and I do this with the kids in my family every time. Every time I see my mom is with the kids in my family, I'm always FaceTiming them immediately because I need to see them.
Yeah, well, they need to see you too.
Yeah.
And the American Academy of Pediatrics says this is absolutely the right thing to be doing to promote bonding. So if you have that opportunity, you have that technology and desire. I know my best friend in Virginia has her first grandbaby in Denver, and they are doing doing that regularly.
Yeah.
And so when she can get out to Denver, little Lucy knows who Grandma is, right?
Exactly.
So, so that's the piece they do carve out. But the parental, so timing, around 18 months, you can begin to do that. Parental involvement, huge. And you know, we preach in the Children's Museum, when parents get involved with their children and whatever they're doing, it amplifies whatever learning lesson there is for the child. So same thing here. Content, make it high quality. Make sure, because you need to be there to make sure they're not onto something that they, you know, can't.
It's easy to get.
Can't handle. Yes, we've all accidentally done that. And then the balance, to make sure that it doesn't replace other critical developmental activities. So, and the one I wanted to highlight is to avoid very young children in front of screens for hours, because you know, your generation kind of started to be in front of screens, and what we're finding, this is fascinating to me, I'm nearsighted, so, and I grew up in the 70s, nearsighted. Looking at objects at varying distances, researchers are finding reduces the risk of nearsightedness, which has been increasingly, and it's alarming increase to me. According to a study published in the journal Ophthalmology in 2016, in the 70s when I was coming along, about 25% of kids had myopia or nearsightedness. It's now 40%.
Oh, wow.
40%.
Yeah.
And they think that that is due to the inability at a certain critical time in childhood to look at a lot of distances. So staring at a short,
that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. And so there's a lot of encouragement to look off at distances. I know in an ophthalmological study, they're saying even when you wake up in the morning, get the sun in your eyes early, look at the horizon, you know, that's good for your circadian rhythms. But yeah, the kids need that. So I would, if I had a little one right now, I would be introducing them to the technology. If we spend maybe a half hour, 45 minutes on that, I'm gonna double that time outside that day. Awesome. Just to make sure that, you know, I'm balancing, and I think that's what they mean by balance.
Definitely.
But yeah, so we're starting to see physical manifestations of screen time that we just need to know about and counteract.
Yeah, and summertime's a great time to bring your kids outside and kind of
Oh, yeah.
see the world beyond
That's right.
the screen.
That's right.
Karen, thank you so much.
You are welcome.